price or power up to the Golden Week PSN sale. This sale ends on the 12th of May, so that'll be your last day to pick up these deals. Okay, let's look at the games. First up is my star buy, .hack GU Last Recode. It was released in 2017, but it's a much older bundle of games than that, and it's on an 84% discount for the price of £7.19, which is unbelievable for 4 full-length games. This bundle includes all 3 original GU games, Rebirth, Reminisce, and Redemption, plus an all-new 4th game, Reconnection, fully remastered in full HD 60 frames per second with additional enhancements as well. This series are an action RPG series, and they follow Haseo as he fights against the Tri-Edge to gain revenge for his friend who was put in a coma by them, while along the way uncovering a mysterious computer anomaly named Ida that is also causing comas across the world. These games are really well liked on PlayStation 2 when they first came out, and they're really well thought of now. So if you never played this series back in the day, and you're a fan of RPGs, especially action RPGs, there's a lot of content in this. I mean, think about it. 4 full games. 4. RPGs are huge games, and there's 4 of them for £7.19. That's a ridiculous deal. If you're in any way interested in RPGs, you should definitely at least consider this. Next up is Akiba's Beat. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for the price of £3.99, which is really good. This is an action JRPG set in the heart of Akihabara, Tokyo, where the delusions of otaku are coming to life and threatening the very fabric of reality, and only you can take to the streets and battle the creations of imagination to rescue Akihabara and its people. On a side note, the previous game, Akiba's Trip, is also on sale for 75% discount, £7.49 if you're interested in that too. But if you're not sure, there's a ton of Japanese RPGs on this sale, so take a look around. Black Clover Quartet Knights is our next game. It's released in 2018, so it's 3 years old, and is on an 84% discount for a price of £7.67, which is really good. This game is based on the popular anime and manga, featuring an exclusive story not featured in either, so fans of the show will love this. In this game you play as Astra, with his friends who take part in 4v4 team battles, where you get to play as a fighter, healer, support, or ranged, working together to win the battles. This seems like a pretty obscure game, so if you're not a fan of Black Clover, then you probably don't want to pick it up, and want to look at something else in the sale instead. Up next is a legendary Metroidvania bundle, Castlevania Requiem, Symphony of the Night, and Rondo of Blood. It was released in 2018, so it's 3 years old, but it's a bundle of much older games than that really. And it's on a 60% discount for the price of £6.39, which is really good for 2 Castlevania games, especially when they're 2 of the best. In the first game you play as Richard Belmont, fighting through Dracula's castle to take him down, and in the second game you get to play as Dracula's son. Castlevania is one of the original 2 games that invented the Metroidvania genre, so if you're a fan of that you'll love both of these games guaranteed. And if you've never played Metroidvania games before, these are 2 of the best at a really good bundle price, so you might want to pick it up and check them out. You might even find your new favourite genre. Next up is Chaos Child. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of £4.99, which is really decent. This is a visual novel, set 6 years after a massive earthquake in Shibuya, where you investigate killings that plunged Shibuya into the terror 6 years ago, all the while the gigalomaniacs with the power to make their delusions real are beginning to awaken all over. So if you're a fan of visual novels, this is a pretty decent deal for one. And if you've never played one before and you're a bit curious, it's a pretty cheap price for one, and it's not often you see Japanese games on this high of a discount, so you might just want to pick it up and give it a go. Code Vein Deluxe Edition is our next game. It was released in 2019, so it's 2 years old, and is on a 67% discount for the price of £21.44, which is a higher price than I usually like to recommend, but again, Japanese games don't usually get big discounts, so a 67% discount on a Deluxe Edition is a pretty good deal for a Japanese game, if you're into the game. This is a third-person action RPG, set after a mysterious disaster in a future apocalypse where the last few hidden survivors called Vein are blessed with power in exchange for their memories and a thirst for blood, risking becoming one of the bloodthirsty lost forever by utilizing their powers more and more. This game features co-op gameplay, which is really awesome and unique for an RPG. I wish more games would include this. So if you're a fan of Code Vein, or you like the sound of the unique RPG elements, then you might be very interested in this game. But otherwise, there's plenty of other RPGs to look at, and better deals as well if you're not interested in Code Vein specifically. We have another visual novel next, Code Realize Bouquet of Rainbows. It was released in 2018, so it's 3 years old, and it's on a 70% discount for the price of £13.49, which isn't bad considering it contains 2 full games, and again, Japanese games don't usually discount too much, so this is pretty good. This bundle includes the first game, Code Realize Guardian of Rebirth, and the sequel Future Blessings. In these games, you get to live out your husbando fantasies in these harem visual novels aimed at women. You play as Cardia in a steampunk world where her touch kills people instantly, but luckily you're surrounded by men who want to help you solve your mystery. On a side note, the third game is also on sale for 60% discount, £17.99, which isn't a great deal, but if you're a fan of these and you've got the first 2, then you might just be interested in the third. So if you're into guys and visual novels, then you'll probably love these games, but if not, then you're probably not interested at all and should move on to something else. Crystar is our next game. It was released in 2019, so it's 2 years old, and is on a 66% discount for the price of £16.99, which again is higher than I normally recommend, but it's a Japanese game, so it gets a bit of leeway. This is an action RPG where you play as Rai, who is fighting through the afterworld purgatory to rescue Mirai, her little sister that she killed herself. You get to harness your own grief as a weapon, armor, and to summon guardians to protect you in battle. This seems like a pretty cool game. But again, if you're not particularly interested in the theme or story, there are a lot of other RPGs for you to look at in this sale, so you might want to take a look around instead. Up next we have Dead Rising 2. It was released in 2016, so it's 5 years old, and is on a 75% discount for the price of £3.99, which is really good. This is a third-person action game where you're trapped in an American mall surrounded by zombies with a sick child that needs daily doses of Zombrex to keep her human. The entire game is also on a ticking time limit for you to survive to the end, saving your daughter and as many survivors as possible along the way. Featuring an awesome customization system that allows you to combine items into some unusual and fun weaponry, such as boxing gloves covered in nails. It's got a lot of cool features in this game. And on a side note, the first game and the spin-off are also on sale for 75% discount, £3.99. So if you've played this one already, or you want one of the other ones, you might want to take a look at them as well. Otherwise, this game is great for zombie fans, or for fans of silly fun action games. There's a lot of silly fun to be had in this game series. Next we have a brawler, Dragon's Crown Pro. It was released in 2018, so it's 3 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for the price of £6.24, which is dirt cheap. I very rarely see it anywhere near this price. This is a brawler cross RPG, where you play as one of 6 classes, with both ranged and melee combat, as you explore dungeons, finding treasure and fighting monsters. It features enhanced 4K graphics for the PS4 and PS5, with enhanced audio and re-recorded live orchestral soundtrack, and it also features 4-player offline and online co-op, which is pretty much essential for a decent brawler. I had this game on Vita years ago, and I played most of it and really loved it. The graphics are beautiful, the gameplay's fun, highly recommended if you like brawlers. Oh look, another RPG. Exist Archive, The Other Side of the Sky. It was released in 2016, so it's 5 years old, and is on a 70% discount for the price of £14.99, which is okay. In this game, Kanata and their friends are imbued with pieces of the dark god Yamataga's soul, and sent to the Protalexa without reason. It's now up to you to find your friends, unravel the reason behind your situation, and escape to freedom. This looks like another solid JRPG, and for fans of this genre, you really have a lot of games to choose from this sale. I don't envy you at all. Good luck with your decisions. A bit of a niche game next, Fire Pro Wrestling World Deluxe Edition. It was released in 2018, so it's 3 years old, and it's on a 70% discount for the price of $22.49, which is pretty decent because it includes a lot of DLC. With the Fire Promoter, Fighting Road 2017 NJPW Junior Heavyweight Championship, and an additional scenario DLC as well. It's a lot of content included, so the price isn't so bad. This game is based on the old school classic, and features ultimate customization, where even the ring can be customized, and you can also download and share your own wrestlers online, and it includes 4-player online multiplayer as well. So there's a lot of fun to be had downloading wrestlers from online and also making your own and putting them up for other people to play with. So if you're a fan of old school wrestling games that are 2D and not 3D, this is the ultimate game for you. And if you're a fan of wrestling and you're willing to overlook the 2D graphics, then there's a lot of good fun to be had in this series. You might just want to take a look around. Our next game is Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise. It was released in 2018, so it's 3 years old, and is on a 50% discount for the price of £7.99, which is really decent. This is a third-person action RPG based on the popular franchise, and it's basically the Yakuza games reskinned with Fist of the North Star, which is a good compliment because those games are amazing. And it even includes the varied gameplay with a ton of modes including bartending and buggy racing. So if you're a fan of the Fist of the North Star, or just action games in general with a cool lot of side quests and side activities, then there's a lot of fun to be had in this game. But if you want something a bit more straight, take a look at the Yakuza games that are also on sale in the other sale. Galgun Double Peace is our next game. It was released in 2016, so it's 5 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of £3.19, which is really cheap. This is a light gun game, which is a bit weird because there are no light guns anymore outside of VR. But in this game, you play Hudai, who gets shot by a cupid. Suddenly every girl at the academy falls in love with him, and now you must avoid their affection that drains your life force, while trying to find the love of your life before you die at the end of the day. This game features a story mode, score attack mode, multiple paths and storylines, and a collection mode full of galleries, etc. And on a side note, the sequel is also on sale for 65% discount, £8.74, so if you love this game and you want the second one, you might be interested in that instead. Next we have God Wars Future Past. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, and is on an 85% discount for the price of £6.74, which is really good. This is a turn-based strategy RPG, based on Japanese folklore, where you command a host of mythical creatures in an adventure full of classic turn-based strategy gameplay, similar to the old Fire Emblem games. So if you're a fan of that sort of game, you might want to check this out, because it's even at a pretty decent price as well. But if you're not a fan of strategy RPGs, or you've never played one before, you might be tempted to try it because it's a pretty decent price. But be warned, you need patience and strategy to be good at these games. And if that sounds fun to you, there'll be a lot of fun in these sorts of games, so you should have picked one up by now. Another big anime franchise next, Jojo's Bizarre Adventure Eyes of Heaven. It was released in 2016, so it's 5 years old, but it's on an 86% discount for a crazy price of £6.71. That's a really good discount price for a Japanese game. And this release includes a lot of DLC that wasn't free in the Japan release, which is really cool. This game is a third-person action brawler with 2v2 fights, with team attacks in big open arenas filled with tons of interactions. It also features an exclusive original story and more than 50 characters from the first 8 chapters of the manga. So if you're a JoJo fan, you'll absolutely love this game. And if you're not a JoJo's fan, then at this price you might want to pick it up as a brawler game. Guess what? It's another RPG, Kingdom Hearts All-in-One package. It was released in 2019, so it's 2 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for the price of $22.49, which is really, really good. This bundle includes Kingdom's Heart HD 1.5, 2.5 Remix, HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue, and 3, so you're getting 4 full games, which is awesome at this price. In these games you play as Sora, who sets off with classic Disney characters Donald and Goofy to prevent another Keyblade war occurring, by fighting the encroaching darkness across many Disney worlds and meeting many famous Disney characters along the way. If you're a fan of Disney and RPGs, you've probably already heard of these games and own a few of them. But if you haven't, then this is a really good game series for fans of RPGs. So if you fancy getting 4 AAA RPGs with a Disney theme, then this is a really good bundle price. Check it out if that sounds cool to you. Odin Sphere Life Thrasir is our next game. It was released in 2016, so it's 5 years old, and it's on a 70% discount for the price of £14.99, which is not bad. This release contains the original 2007 version with enhanced graphics, but also a revised version with more scenes, new monsters, and an updated battle system. This game's a 2D action RPG, where you play as 5 characters in an intertwining story that explores the world of Arion as it nears the end of days. This game kinda reminds me of the old D&D arcade RPGs, if you remember those awesome games. It's basically a side-scrolling 2D brawler with RPG elements woven in. Plus it looks like it has a decent story as well. So if you're a fan of brawlers and RPGs, or those old games I mentioned, you'll probably really like this game. Next up we have One Piece Pirate Warriors 3. This game was released in 2015, so it's 6 years old, and it's on a 60% discount for the price of £6.39, which is really good. This game is a third-person action game set in the original One Piece story arc in Future Village, where you get to gather up the Straw Hat crew and take on the host of dangerous foes including Doflamingo, Hordy Jones, Caesar Clown, and many more. This game is basically Dynasty Warriors, but with a One Piece theme, which will be great news for Dynasty Warriors fans who also like One Piece. Other than that though, if you like One Piece you'll probably love this game. If you don't like Dynasty Warriors though, you'll want to stay away from this game as well. Schoolgirl Zombie Hunter is next. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, and it's on a 70% discount for the price of £11.99, which isn't bad. This is a third-person action game set in the Onishambra universe, more specifically in the prestigious Kirasaka High School, where 5 students are trapped from the outside world and surrounded by endless zombie hordes. So you must survive long enough to find the sources and end this crisis forever. If you're a fan of zombie action games, you'll probably like this game, especially if you're into the Onishambra universe. But if you're just looking for a zombie action game, you're probably better off with Dead Rising 2 because that's a better deal. Oh look, it's another RPG, Shining Resonance Reframe. It was released in 2018, so it's 3 years old, and it's on a 70% discount for the price of £7.49, which is really good. In this RPG, dragons were long thought extinct, but Yuma holds the ability to transform into a shining dragon and is imprisoned by the evil empire. But soon with help from the Dragoneers, you are freed and asked to help them end the empire forever. So naturally it reminds me of the Breath of Fire series, which I really loved and played all of them practically back in the day. So if that sounds cool to you, you like RPGs, you're a big fan of dragons, or you like the idea that it's reminiscent of the Breath of Fire series, you might want to check this out, because I'm a little tempted myself. Next up is another visual novel, Song of Memories. It was released in 2019, so it was 2 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for a price of £7.49, which isn't bad. This is a romantic story with dark undertones. This musical-themed love story takes a dark turn as an apocalyptic virus begins sweeping across the world and threatens to infect those closest to you. So it seems like a pretty unusual story for a visual novel. But hey, if you're a fan of visual novels, that'll be great for you because it's different. But if you're not interested at all, there's plenty more games for you to check out. We're going old school with the next one, Super Bomberman R. It was released in 2018, so it's 3 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of £6.99, which is pretty decent. This game includes the classic Bomberman mode everybody loves, plus a story mode as well, and a new competitive mode based around teamwork, featuring 4-player local co-op and 8-player online play, plus this edition includes bonus Ratchet & Clank characters from the Sony universe, so that's pretty cool. If you're in any way a fan of Bomberman, this is a good game at a good price. But if you're too young to have played Bomberman before, you might want to give this a skip and look at something else. Back to the RPGs now. Sword Art Online HollowRealization. It was released in 2016, so it's 5 years old, and it's on an 85% discount for the price of £6.74, which is really good. In this game, a new VR MMORPG named Sword Art Origin has emerged, and Kitio meets a mysterious NPC with a cryptic message. This new game seems familiar, but is not the same as the one he escaped from years ago. This game features 4-player online co-op and a story supervised by the creator of Sword Art Online. So if you're a fan of Sword Art Online, this will be a big plus for you. And I really like the co-op element as well. I wish more RPGs had a co-op gameplay option. But if you're just a fan of RPGs and you're not bothered about Sword Art Online, then again there's tons of RPGs on sale right now. Take your pick. Thank God it's not an RPG. The King of Fighters 14. It was released in 2016, so it's 5 years old, and it's on a 65% discount for the price of £5.59, which is really decent. Do you know what? I love this game, because it includes 50 playable characters. Yes, you don't have to spend tons of money buying each character one at a time in stupid season passes and DLC add-ons. Suck it, other games. You're rubbish. This game also features 3v3 team battles, full HD graphics with 60 frames per second, and a story mode with a ton of new fighting mechanics as well. If you're a King of Fighters fan, or an old school fighter fan, or you just want a fighting game where you're not getting nickel and dimed for every character that should have been included in the first place, then check this out. It's a really good deal with a legendary fighting franchise. Up next we have The Lost Child, which is an RPG. It was released in 2018, so it's 3 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for the price of £11.24, which is pretty decent. In this game, you're thrust into a fight between angels, demons, and fallen angels, capturing defeated foes and turning them into valuable allies. utilising them in your party to conquer more dungeons and solve the ongoing conflict. This is more of an old school RPG, in like the first person dungeon crawling kind of way, like proper old school classic. So if that sounds great to you, you'll really like this game. But if you're like, what are you talking about? I don't understand what you're saying, then this game's not for you. Stick with the more modern ones. Next we have The 7 Deadly Sins, Knights of Britannia. Released in 2018, is 3 years old, and is on an 80% discount for the price of £9.59, which is pretty good. This is a fighting game, where you assemble the 7 Deadly Sins and fight to save the kingdom of Lyonesse. You play through memorable fights from the anime, with characters such as Meliodas, Ban, Hawk, and more. So if you're a fan of the 7 Deadly Sins anime, you'll really enjoy this. And if you're not a fan, then maybe you should look at some of the other fighting games because there are better deals to be had. Our next game is Tokyo Ghoul, Recall to Exist. It was released in 2019, so it's 2 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for the price of £12.49, which is okay. This is a third-person action survival game, where you team up with friends in this co-op game, where you experience the world of Tokyo Ghoul and Tokyo Ghoul-Re by choosing the side of either ghouls or investigators, before using their unique abilities and Kaguni or Quinkui to battle through the stages. Because this is an absolutely amazing deal, again, if you're a fan of Tokyo Ghoul, you'll probably enjoy this game a lot more. And if you're not a fan of Tokyo Ghoul, then I probably wouldn't recommend it. Up next, we have Tokyo Twilight Ghost Hunters Daybreak Special Gigs. It was released in 2016, so it's 5 years old, and it's on a 70% discount for the price of £4.79, which is really good. This is a cross between a visual novel and a tactical RPG. The gatekeepers gather an array of talented individuals who have the ability to see ghosts and must now battle them against evil spirits lurking within the shadows of Tokyo. So if you're a fan of tactical turn-based RPGs and visual novels, this is designed specifically for you. Have your fun. But if not, it's not as good as either of those genres individually, so you might want to take a look at it and weigh up the options before making a decision, because it's a pretty unique and different game. And the final game I have for you is Tokyo Xanadu EX+. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of £9.99, which isn't bad. This is a third-person action RPG, no surprise there, and this edition is remastered with 60 frames per second frame rate, and includes new scenarios, new playable characters, new modes, and more. In this game, you play a high school student, Ko, who follows his friends into an alley where they are drawn into the nightmare realm known as Eclipse, where they now work with the Nemesis group to try and close the interdimensional vortexes for good. This looks like a pretty decent RPG, but it doesn't have a big blockbuster name attached to it. So if you're a fan of a particular series, you're bound to like one of the other games in this sale, but if you're not, this is definitely worth considering. And that's all the games I have for you for the Golden Week PSN sale. What did you think of the games I picked? Did I pick good ones? Did I pick bad ones? If I pick good ones, drop the video a like, and if I pick bad ones, drop your complaints in the comments and we can argue about it later. But what about the star buy? Did I pick a good one? Did I pick a bad one? What would you have picked instead? Or did I miss out games completely that I should have included? Throw all your complaints down in the comments and we'll argue about it later. I hope you guys found some games you like the look of, but more importantly I hope you guys saved a lot of money. Don't forget to subscribe if you don't want to miss the next video and sale. I'll see you guys in the next video. Hoil Vour.